If you have any questions for me about the production in general or about the Hypocrites, I'd be happy to start answering your questions now. Did anyone feel this event, because it's a real event, when Laura showed up late and the whole thing started, it was really interesting for me to watch people be actually confused. Was anyone actually confused about what was going on in reality versus fiction? Or did you know the play well enough to know what we were up to?
Not for too long.
Not for too long? Yeah, great, yeah.
I just heard what it said on the information on the website, how it's a play within a play.
Right.
Allegory. So I figured it was part of the play.
That's great, yeah.
It was very good.
Excellent. One thing that we spent a lot of time focusing on in rehearsal was the difference of the worlds between the character's world and the style in which they perform in, and the actors, the acting company's world, and the style that they performed in. So we made a really large effort both with the language and with the performance style to hopefully make it believable that the acting company were not acting, that was hopefully felt improvised or felt like off the cuff. And that the characters were obviously a little more theatrical, but that they come from a different universe or a different world.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Because I had just seen Pirates, and so when this version started, I'm not familiar with the version's play. When you guys started out, I was a little confused, like, am I here for the wrong for the wrong thing? But then when you got into it and I realized what was happening, one thing I loved was the little commentary by the quote-unquote actors as they were watching the characters. And so many times they were saying what I was thinking, and I was wondering, was that your input, or was that?
Yeah, I'm so glad, and that's another interesting thing. Depending on all the people that sit over here by these actors get to hear different things, and you guys over here get a different. Well, when we were talking, you guys who play the acting company can say, but we talked about how once the play begins, the characters play, that I felt like the acting company was sort of a Greek chorus in a way, that they should be witnessing and experiencing the complications in the story in the way that our audience might. So that's great news.
Yeah, I really like having these little chairs because the way you have it set up with the different acting order here made it very easy to hear everything and see everything.
Great.
Without, stretching. And I love this idea.
Thanks. Depending on where you are, you have a very different experience of the play. Like the poor woman who sat in your seat right here, there was a woman who screamed when the little boy rips that paper off. And someone told me sitting here they were really creeped out when they realized the son spent most of the show just staring at them, which is a very different experience where you're over here. You may be more aware of the pool and the garden being set up because you can hear it, maybe, but over here we can't really hear it, so it's a surprise. So my intention was that it would be a fun game, sort of depending on where you're sitting, and there are seats that are worse than other ones where you're blocked a little bit from some things, but then you get a really great view of other sections, and that seemed interesting to me, what point of view you can watch the show in and experience it, yeah. Any other observations or questions? Yeah.
I saw your production of Pirates, and obviously there's a lot of props and elements that are from that production. What was your process, and at what point in the process did you start to adapt those elements into this production?
Yeah, one of the early conversations I had with Steve Moulds, who adapted this play for us, specifically for our production, was what play should the actors be rehearsing. And I knew in the season that the play right before this was going to be a remount of Pirates Who Presents because it was such a big hit the year before. And so that seemed like a great thing to have if we're doing some kind of rehearsal around the play we just closed. What was important was that the people doing it were maybe not totally invested in that project. So if it was something that someone else had done, was very successful at, and now was going off on another generation. I also just really liked the set and the environment of that play, and I loved that production of that play. So it was a fun way to play around with something we really love, but also move us forward, but also be really true and honest to the Hypocrites. And the way that we create shows, and to Sean Graney, who's the director of that show, and he's a big personality in our company, so it was a nice way for us to stay true to our company, but also have a little bit of fun.
It was really fun to get to work with the playwright Steve, who made the adaptation. Like, he was really a very great guy, but also like really wanted the acting part to feel really natural. So a lot of the lines, luckily, I guess for us, in a fun way, we were able to play around with a little bit and throw in little other zingers or one-liners, as long as we stay true to the script, and especially like cue lines and things like that. We had a lot of freedom to be able to have fun and experience the show as like an audience member. So it was really neat to be able to have that experience.
Thanks so much.